We'll call the regular meeting of the Upshur County Commission to order. We'll begin with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time we'll have the reading of the minutes of our January 31st, 2013 Upshur County Commission meeting.
The County Commission of Upshur County, West Virginia held their regular meeting at the Courthouse Annex on Thursday, January 31, 2013 at 9 a.m. Donnie Tenney called the meeting to order. There were present Donnie Tenney, Commissioner, J.C. Rafferty, Commissioner, Troy Brady, Commissioner, William Parker, County Administrator, Megan Pomeroy, Assistant County Administrator, and Jacqueline Dinklocker, Secretary. The meeting began with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All motions passed unanimously unless otherwise stated. After reading of the minutes on motion by J.C. Rafferty, second by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the regular meeting minutes of January 24, 2013 as submitted. Laura Woods, Director of Randolph County Senior Center, appeared before the Commission and provided an update status report on the Country Roads Transit. Ms. Woods reported increased usage by college students and elderly patrons, but an overall decrease in usage during the 2011-2012 fiscal year. Upshur County Recreational Park, Country Roads Transit will again provide free transportation to and from Upshur County Recreational Park, with specific pickup and drop-off locations for the upcoming pool season. Ms. Woods also requested funding for the 2013-2014 fiscal year. No action was taken at this time. The Commission will review the request during budget sessions in March 2013. Terry Gould, Tannerton Public Service District Manager, and Sam Ludlow, City of Buchanan Sewer Department Director, appeared before the Commission and reviewed information concerning the Tannerton PSD's request for boundary adjustment to increase their service territory, Red Rock Road area, Lawrence area, Finks Run area, and other areas west of the corporation limits. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, second by Troy Brady, the Commission postponed indefinitely the boundary adjustment issue, effectively leaving it as is. The Commission recessed at 9:45 a.m. The Commission reconvened at 9:50 a.m. Gary Rapking and Craig Presar, representatives of the Upshur County office of the West Virginia University Extension Service, appeared before the Commission and reviewed their options for the replacement of retiring Administrative Assistant Jill Bentley. No action was taken at this time. The Commission will discuss the issue later in today's meeting. Upshur County resident Tim Higgins appeared before the Commission and expressed concerns about the Commission memberships in the County Commissioners Association of West Virginia and the West Virginia Association of Counties. Each commissioner expressed his opinion about how memberships in the organizations benefit/affect the Commission and/or citizens. Donnie Tenney advised that he would address the concerns to the agencies involved on behalf of Mr. Higgins. Virgil Miller, Chief Deputy of Administration, appeared before the Commission to resubmit his request for service credit for usage of sick time earned as Deputy Sheriff to be credited to the Public Employees Retirement System. The Commission heard comments from Jacob Rieger, Prosecuting Attorney, David Kaufman, Magistrate, and Terry Reed, Attorney. The Commission deferred action until later in today's meeting. Martin and Jean Rohr appeared before the Commission to request that their address revert back to be addressed off of Fishing Camp Road. Mr. and Mrs. Rohr argued that they never intended to name their driveway Cattle Crossing Lane. Terry Jo Bennett, Addressing and Mapping Coordinator, reviewed information concerning the history of naming Cattle Crossing Lane. Donnie Tenney advised that due to the current moratorium, the road name cannot be changed until January 2015. The commission recessed at 11:20 a.m. The commission reconvened at 11:30 a.m. William Parker provided a review of the request of a letter of unqualified support for a multifamily housing project as reviewed by Joe Layton, Red Clay Development of West Virginia, LLC, at previous county commission meetings. Commissioners discussed the need for adequate low-income housing. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the commission approved the request. William Parker was requested to follow up with drafting the letter. The commission recessed at 11:45 a.m. The commission reconvened at 1 p.m. Gregory Harris, Director of Facilities Operation, appeared before the commission to discuss maintenance issues concerning the fire panel located in the annex building. Brian Godet, Upshur County Circuit Clerk, appeared before the commission and provided a report on the selection of jurors using DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles records. The commission requested Mr. Godet to follow up and report back at a future meeting. Debbie Thacker-Wilfong, Upshur County Clerk, met with the commission concerning audit findings pertaining to her office. Upshur County Attorney Terry Reed provided input concerning how the county policy for refunding of overpayments affects his operations. After discussion, Ms. Wilfong was requested to follow up with a written response to the audit drafts, which apply to the office of the county clerk. David Kaufman, Upshur County Sheriff, met with the commission concerning audit findings pertaining to his office. The commission reviewed the advertisements for the position of part-time groundskeeping, seasonal positions, and of part-time housekeeping/janitorial services. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the commission approved the advertisements to be submitted for publication. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the commission approved and authorized the president to sign the audit adjustments for fiscal year 2011-2012. The commission reviewed the audit reports for the Upshur County Fire Board for fiscal years 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. No action was required. The commission discussed payroll payment procedures, recommended modification, effective with payroll period covered by March 1, 2013, payroll direct deposit or payroll check. All current employees with direct deposit to remain, and new employees required to enroll for direct deposit. Current employees, approximately 6 as of March 1st, check. Not enrolled in direct deposit will have checks mailed to payroll address on file. After discussion on motion by Donnie Tenney, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the commission approved the modification of payroll procedure. Note: Tenney and Rafferty for, Brady against. After review and discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the commission approved and authorized the president to sign the lease agreement by and between Craig Smith and the Upshur County Commission for premises located at 203 2nd Street, Sutton, West Virginia, for the benefit of the Lewis Upshur Braxton Community Corrections, Braxton County location. The lease agreement contains a rental increase to $325 from $310. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the commission approved Carrie Wagner as volunteer for the Office of Emergency Management/CERT. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the commission approved the president to sign the grant application and all related documents with Volunteer West Virginia in the amount of $2,000 for the benefit of the Upshur County Citizens Corps. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the commission approved the Upshur County Office of the West Virginia University Extension Office to advertise for full-time benefited employee at the rate of $8 per hour. Note: Rafferty and Brady for, Tenney against. The commission reviewed the following for your information items. Number 1, notice of public hearing, amendment to enhanced 911 ordinances. 11 a.m. on Thursday, February 21, 2013. Increase from current monthly fee of $2.65 to residential $4.50, business and Centrex $6.50. County copy of correspondence from FEMA to the Office of the Governor concerning denial of appeal for individual assistance under FEMA 4093-DR. Number 3, confirmation from the West Virginia Development Office on signed contracts for the Small Cities Block Grant, $100,000 for the Adrian Public Service District project. Number 4, correspondence from the Upshur County Board of Education concerning the appointment of Rick Reynolds to the Buchanan Upshur Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, second by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the Board of Education's recommendation. The appointment fills the position left open by the resignation of Doug Bush. Mr. Reynolds' term will expire June 30, 2014. Number 5, agendas and notices of meetings as listed. Number 6, meeting minutes and/or financial reports. There were none. Number 7, Board of Review and Equalization schedule as listed. Number 8, meetings as listed. Number 9, appointments needed or upcoming as listed. The Commission approved all invoices for payment. The Commission approved all vacation orders. The Commission approved the following settlements as listed. After discussion, the Commission deferred action concerning Virgil Miller's request for service credit for sick leave. The item will be placed on next week's agenda for action. With no further business, on motion by J.C. Rafferty, second by Troy Brady, the Commission meeting adjourned at 4:30 p.m.
Okay, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as read? I would like to make just one little clarification here. When I voted against the advertisement for the employee for the Extension Office, it wasn't that I was voting against hiring that person. It was, I just believe that the job requirements justify a higher rate of pay than $8 an hour. That was the reason. I'm in agreement of hiring a replacement. So all those in favor of approving, say aye. Oh, well, we need a motion for it.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, now all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, Jackie, we're going to the next day.
Jackie, do you need a drink of water?
I'm fine, thank you.
Pull a Mark Rubio there.
This is February 7, 2013. The County Commission of Upshur County, West Virginia held their regular meeting at the Courthouse Annex on Thursday, February 7, 2013 at 9 a.m. Donnie Tenney called the meeting to order. There were present Donnie Tenney, Commissioner, J.C. Rafferty, Commissioner, Troy Brady, Commissioner, William Parker, County Administrator, Megan Pomeroy, Assistant County Administrator, and Jacqueline Dinklocker, Secretary. The meeting began with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All motion passed unanimously unless otherwise stated. Minutes for the January 31, 2013 meeting of the Upshur County Commission were unavailable and will be placed on next week's agenda for approval. Upshur County Sheriff David Kaufman appeared before the Commission and provided a review of his request for the employment of Richard Kitzmiller as part-time process server/bailiff. Sheriff Kaufman presented the Commission with a letter of resignation from Mr. Kitzmiller as Upshur County Civil Service Board member. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, second by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the board resignation of Mr. Kitzmiller effective February 7, 2013. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the Commission approved the employment of Richard Kitzmiller as part-time process server/bailiff effective February 11, 2013 at the rate of $11 per hour. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission approved Sherry Walsh as volunteer for the Office of Emergency Management/CERT. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the Commission approved West Virginia Wesleyan College student Corey Kircher as intern for the Lewis Upshur Braxton Community Corrections Program. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the resignation of Patty Jo Gum as Animal Control Officer effective February 15, 2013. William Parker provided a review of the employment request of Greg Harris, Director of Facility Operations, for the position of Animal Control Officer. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the employment of Michael Douglas Miller as Animal Control Officer. Effective date of employment is February 11, 2013, at the rate of $9 per hour, as recommended by Greg Harris. Virgil Miller, Chief Deputy of Administration, appeared before the Commission and provided a review of his request for service credit for usage of sick time earned as Deputy Sheriff to be credited to the Public Employees Retirement System. The Commission heard comments from Helen Phillips, Assessor, and Debbie Thacker-Wilfong, Upshur County Clerk. Donnie Tenney provided a review of the policy as stated in the Employee Handbook. Mr. Tenney advised that the Commission will not make a decision until after review with legal counsel. John Michael Kaufman, Magistrate, presented his request for usage of sick leave balance for retirement service credit. William Parker advised that Mr. Kaufman is not a county employee and therefore is not covered by the policy. The Commission will also review Mr. Kaufman's request with legal counsel. Donnie Tenney introduced Kathleen Rohr, Executive Director of the Buchanan Chamber of Commerce, and welcomed her to the community. Now, the Commission reviewed the following for your information items. Number 1, notice of public hearing amendment to enhanced 911 ordinances. 11 a.m. on Thursday, February 21, 2013, increased from current monthly fee of $2.65 to residential $4.50, business and Centrex $6.50. Number 2, correspondence from West Virginia Division of Culture and History concerning grant award from Records Management and Preservation Board. Number 3, Upshur County Sheriff's financial statement for December 2012. Number 4, General County Fund financial information as listed. Number 5, building permit reports, January 2013. Number 6, agendas and/or notices of meetings as listed. Number 7, meeting minutes and/or financial reports. There were none. Number 8, Board of Review and Equalization schedule as listed. Number 9, meetings as listed. Number 10, appointments needed or upcoming as listed. The Commission approved all invoices for payment. The Commission approved all vacation orders. The Commission approved the following settlements as listed. The Commission recessed at 10:10 a.m. The Commission reconvened at 10:30 a.m. Donnie Tenney announced that residents who have recently received their address information from the United States Postal Service should follow up with the Upshur County Addressing and Mapping Office for verification. Dennis Sander, Upshur County Public Library Board representative, appeared before the Commission to discuss the Board's proposed usage of property adjacent to the library. Mr. Sander expressed the need for additional parking for library patrons. Donnie Tenney advised that since the structure located on the property is sound, the Commission would like to use the property as a temporary source of revenue, but would take the Board's suggestions into consideration. Margie Parsons, E911 Communications Center dispatcher, appeared before the Commission, requested to meet in executive session to review past work history issues. At 11:10 a.m., on motion by J.C. Rafferty, second by Troy Brady, the Commission entered into executive session. Present were Donnie Tenney, J.C. Rafferty, Troy Brady, William Parker, Megan Pomeroy, and Margie Parsons. The Commission returned to open session at 12:15 p.m. No decisions were made during executive session. The Commission recessed at 12:15 p.m. The Commission reconvened at 1:30 p.m. as a Board of Review and Equalization for review of property books. The Commission recessed as Board of Review and Equalization at 3:30 p.m. The Commission reconvened at 3:30 p.m. The Commission met with Jacob Rieger, prosecuting attorney, concerning the request from Virgil Miller and John Michael Kaufman for usage of sick time to be credited to the Public Employees Retirement System. No action was taken. The item will be placed on next week's agenda for action. With no further business, on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission meeting adjourned at 4:15 p.m.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as read? Not, I'd ask for a motion to be approved as such.
Also move.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, we have 9 o'clock, Virgil Miller, Chief Deputy Administration, requests usage of 120 days sick leave for retirement service credit. And we also have, but not on a, yeah, we also have Debbie Wilfong and we have Helen listed, but not a specific time. So, Virgil, if you will indulge me just for a minute, I just want to give a few thoughts, and then we're going to start down through this, because we got 3 different situations here. So, if you'll just indulge me, because and then you can have your say.
I was going to be short and sweet.
Well, why don't you be short and sweet first?
I'll be short and sweet. That's what I was posing this morning, speaking on behalf of my other 3 comrades here, that we address this first thing this morning, and the only thing we want is, perceived by what your minute said, that I would ask the commission to call for a vote on this subject. I hope you vote in the affirmative, but I'll leave that to you because this ground's been plowed enough. Don't mean to plow it anymore.
Right. I think it's time to disc and plant, isn't it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, let me just give some history, my thoughts, and then we'll do exactly as you requested. The first issue, because we have 3 different issues here, and the first issue would entail our assessor, Helen Phillips, and our county clerk, Debbie Wilfong. I'll get to you, Bert, and Mike.
I know, Bert.
Okay. Well, this issue arose upon a policy within the county's handbook which applies only to elected officials in the following offices: the county assessor, the sheriff, the county clerk, the county commissioners, the circuit clerk, and the county prosecutor. The policy in question allows these 8 elected officials to take 120 days of unused sick leave accumulated when employed as full-time employees by Upshur County prior to being elected, and apply it to retirement service upon adoption of the policy or election to office. There's been a great deal of confusion, various interpretations, and heated discussions about this topic. Although some individuals may have the impression that we have deliberated this issue for weeks due to personal issues, that would be a misunderstanding. The policy was adopted in order to recognize the contribution that our employees and elected officials have given to this county and its citizens. That feeling continues to this day. Our employees are often underpaid, perhaps underappreciated, and dedicate a good portion of their time and energy to serving this county, its citizens, and the elected officials for whom they work. The policy in question was adopted in order to recognize the long hours and years of service the elected officials have given to this county, and to benefit from not abusing the sick leave policy in place while employed by the county. Additionally, this policy does not give a benefit to elected officials that is not available to our current full-time employees. If an employee retires from service with the county, they have the same ability to utilize a certain amount of sick time for retirement service credit. This policy, in fact, leveled the playing field for our elected officials who do not accrue sick leave, vacation time, or other similar benefits in their elected positions. The issues before the Commission, which required a great deal of consideration and thought, were twofold. First, the interpretation that existed of the formalities the policy set forth are under contention. Second, the decision is between enforcing the policy, which may have been misunderstood or not followed by elected officials in office at the time, therefore denying them a benefit which the Commission wanted to grant them, or to disregard the policy and perhaps set a precedent that appears as though we will ignore certain guidelines in our handbook for the benefit of elected officials. All the employees of Upshur County are valued equally. We do not make decisions to benefit our elected officers or employees to the detriment of the other. We also will not blindly follow policies which we have not formally approved without giving considerations to the intention, implications, and outcomes of the enforcement. And although certifying the additional service hours may not cost the county a significant amount of money, it will undoubtedly affect numerous employees in the future and employees whom have already left the service of the county. The 3 employees who have applied to utilize this policy years after its adoption are not the only ones who will be affected by its decision. As a general rule, we will enforce the provisions within our employee handbook. In this instance, there seemed to be a great deal of disagreement about the wording of this policy, particularly the 90-day requirement for application. This particular sentence was included in order to avoid any issues with proper documentation regarding the actual amount of sick leave that an elected official accumulated during employment with the county. Individuals who were present at the policy board meeting do not agree upon the discussion regarding the policy, and the minutes do not include enough detail to clarify the issue. The exact situation, the 90-day requirement, was designed to prevent is currently occurring. Some individuals may make claims or accusations that are impossible to prove or disprove years after the event actually occurred. In the future, revisions to the employee handbook will be discussed and reviewed by all officials listed above during a meeting of those officials, who will be given a time period to thoroughly read and review the policies included therein. We will then ask the officials to sign an affidavit stating that they have read, understood, and agree with the handbook as a whole. We recognize that no amount of care or forethought can completely eradicate situations such as this. However, in the future, all additions, corrections, or revisions to the employee handbook will be available and reviewed in the public county commission meetings and will be approved by the county commission in order to be included and enforced. Hopefully, this will bring any requirements, such as the policy in question today, to light and to ensure compliance, thereby avoiding these types of issues in the future. Are there any further comments for fellow commissioners?
Not from me.
Well, based upon discussion with our legal counsel, and that's what we said last week we would do, and in recognition that although the intent of the policy is clear, the language is slightly ambiguous, I would ask for a motion to approve awarding Helen Phillips and Debbie Wilfong 120 days credit for years of service. If there's no motion, the request is denied and no further action is required by the commission.
I will move to make such a motion.
I will second it.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Second issue, retirement service credit for Virgil Miller. The same issues that applied to Assessor Helen Phillips and County Clerk for the Commission, Debbie Wilfong, also apply to Virgil Miller. For the sake of brevity, we will not reinstate those issues. However, there is another policy from the handbook which may be at issue for Virgil. For all employees, Upshur County has always maintained a policy stating Upshur County will not pay an employee for the balance of unused accumulated sick leave time upon termination of employment. When the services of an employee have been terminated, all sick leave credit will be canceled as of the last workday with the county. However, accumulated sick leave may be reinstated if the county rehires a full-time employee within a period of 6 months from the date of separation. Virgil has worked for the county in various capacities for approximately 30 years. In 1980, Virgil was hired as a deputy sheriff, working full-time as a full-time county employee until he was elected as Upshur County Sheriff in 1988, approximately 20 years before the policy allowing elected officials to use sick time for retirement credit was in existence. Subsequent to being elected and serving as sheriff for 8 years, Virgil served as county magistrate and then was appointed as chief of police for the city of Buchanan. Virgil was re-elected as county sheriff and took office in January of 2004 and served until he termed out of office this past year. Based on this information, at the time that the policy allowing elected officials to credit 120 days to retirement was written and included into the handbook, Virgil had experienced a break in service after his full-time employment with the county. However, this break in service came as a result of a statutorily imposed term limit for county sheriffs. Helen Phillips and Debbie Wilfong have no such term limits and therefore were awarded the 120 days credit. Should Virgil Miller be excluded from taking advantage of the same benefit simply because the office for which he ran is restricted in time to state code? What is the intent of the two policies in question, and what is the most fair and equitable outcome for all involved? These are the issues we must consider when making our decision, and they are issues which we've given significant thought and concern. Based on all the evidence before the Commission today, I would ask for a motion to approve awarding Virgil Miller's 120 days of credit for years of service. If there is a motion, then the request. If there is no motion, then the request is denied and no further action is required by the Commission. Any comments?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Now, is there any other comments?
No.
If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The third item is Mike Kaufman, sick leave. Mike Kaufman, one of our county magistrates, came to the Commission at the same time that the previous issue came to light with a request to apply his unused sick leave toward retirement. Mr. Kaufman was a deputy sheriff with Upshur County from February 2005 until December 31st, 2008, and left the county's employment after being elected magistrate with approximately 66 days of unused sick leave. Mike has requested that we convert his unused sick leave to service credit for the deputy sheriff's retirement system. The policy which was discussed for the Upshur County elected officials in the previous case does not apply here. Mr. Kaufman is an employee of the state. Therefore, the Upshur County employee handbook does not currently apply to him. It did apply to him when he was employed as deputy with our sheriff's department, and the applicable policy which will guide our decision in this case is the following. Upshur County will not pay an employee for the balance of unused accumulated sick leave time upon termination of employment. When the services of an employee have been terminated, all sick leave credits shall be canceled as of the last workday with the county. However, accumulated sick leave may be reinstated if the county rehires a full-time employee within a period of 6 months from the date of separation. Mike Kaufman terminated his employment with Upshur County in December 2008. He has not since been rehired by the county, but was employed by the state. Therefore, all accumulated sick leave was terminated from his break in service with the county. If he had retired from the county, he would have been eligible to apply his unused accumulated sick leave to retirement. Again, this situation is not unique to Mike Kaufman, but is true for every employee that worked for the county, for Upshur County, and left employment for whatever reason. Given that Mike Kaufman did not retire, but terminated his employment with Upshur County, I ask the Commission whether we have a motion to approve the request for Mike Kaufman for the application of his accumulated unused sick leave to retirement credit. If there is no motion to approve, then the request is denied and no further action is required by the commission.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'd like to comment.
Second, and then you can comment. For second, and you're not
Not making a
approving.
decision.
You're opening the floor for discussion.
Okay, I'll second it for purpose of discussion.
Okay.
This purpose, the entire issue was brought before the commission based on former Sheriff Miller applying for retirement. This issue came forward. It was presented on the behalf of the other two elected officials. Mr. Kaufman, as I recall or believe, because of his concern under the same issue, also sought a remedy from the commission relative to his 66 days, I believe, of time that you have accumulated as a deputy sheriff. You are, I believe, several decades, if not longer, from applying for retirement.
That's correct.
I personally believe that if we were to make any decision on Mike's request today, it would serve to lock in whatever options are available in the future. No one knows what the future holds. Statutes may change, county employee handbooks may change, policy may change. So it would be my recommendation that the commission not make a decision today. I think in legal terms, the case is not ripened to the point where a decision must be made in Mike's case. I think the appropriate time and place for such a decision would rest at the time Mike applies for retirement from whatever position he may or may not occupy at that future date.
Can I speak?
Go ahead, Mike.
My time, like I said last week, and I'm not going to get into a big spill, what I'm asking is for it to be, and that's what other counties are doing, is to lock it, put it in the minutes to where whatever change there may be with circumstances. I mean, it may be that my spouse is trying to get that survivor's benefit or something. I may not be here. I would ask for that to be put in the minutes, that time be locked and held when I reach retirement purposes, retirement age, or whatever circumstances may come up at that point. And I just reiterate, my time that I'm trying to lock was when I was a county employee. It has nothing to do with state. It's all under deputy sheriff when I was a county employee. I'm just asking that be locked and held for retirement purposes. It may be that they change statute and that be irrelevant. We never go back and mail that in whenever I reach 62 normal retirement age. But it may be relevant, and we'll have this bridge crossed, and that's what other counties are doing, and that's what Lewis County's in the process of doing for me as well. I've been following up with them to officially get it on there. It's already been sent into the estimator with them, but they're going to lock it and hold it as well, and that's what other counties are doing. If it comes up that they pass something that's retroactive back, because they could pass something and I have mine locked and held and it be in place, and the benefit that I get, just like new employees aren't entitled to it. So I would have mine in place, but it wouldn't be sent in until I was on retirement age. But I would appreciate it if you all would please consider locking it, holding it, put it in the official minutes of the commission, and I'll retain a copy, and if something happens to one of our copies, that way we're all covered whenever I'm.
Nice.
And
Yes.
yes.
I don't know that do we have the authority to, quote, lock it in, and that authority would extend beyond today's date. A different panel of commissioners could come in at some point and maybe unlock it, or what I'm suggesting, or what I think would accrue to your benefit by letting the decision be made at the time of your retirement. Not knowing what decision the commission will make today, whether or not to approve or not approve locking it in.
I understand, Mr. Mr. Rafferty, and I'm not being argumentative with you.
I understand.
I would just ask that you recognize the time that I have this commission. If it's a question, then I'll come back before the commission whenever I'm 62. The retirement board tells me that it will not be a question. I mean, I think we're kind of when we're talking about that issue, we're kind of in the same boat with Debbie and Helen, who's to say that they're not going to keep working for another 8 or 12 years, running for office and being successful, and not draw the retirement for that time frame.
But they, in
So that would
fact,
be a new commission.
but they did not leave the employment of the county to take a job with the state.
I completely understand.
It's pretty definitive in the policy. It has been that way for years.
Well, I'm not going to get into, we had that discussion last time. I don't necessarily disagree with you about the policy of what it is at this present time, but I think you said last week that the policy needs to be looked at, whether it be made more clear or changed. But I would just ask that this commission recognize it in the official minutes of the amount of time that I have. And then if I need to deal with it later with another commission in a couple decades, hopefully I'll do that. My thing is, who knows what the future holds? My spouse may be dealing with that in 10, 12 years. I certainly hope not, but I'm fighting this battle this time, and I hope that you would recognize that in the official minutes. And then if we need to, if they give me grief down the road, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well, Buddy, go ahead.
Well, I retired under the deputy sheriff's retirement system, and I am now drawing my retirement. I guess if I didn't want to draw my retirement and I decided to run for office, I still think the time that I accumulated should be able to receive from my retirement. As I understand it, you've got enough years in to lock your deputy sheriff's retirement. Is that correct?
I did. At age 62, I'll draw a check for the deputy sheriff retirement.
Is Lewis County giving you credit for the time when you left Lewis County and came to Upshur County? Are they recognizing your...
I've been verbally told that. I talked to Cindy Wetzel this morning, indicated that the only thing there's my time sheet's in storage above the old post office, and they're going to dig that out and be put on the agenda. But yes, it's already been talked about, and that's been standard practice of theirs in that county, and that they don't think it's any issue whatsoever because of the cost factor and its benefit that I earned while I was there. It benefits me in the future.
And I know you're nowhere close to retirement,
That's correct.
but it would be my position as county commissioner that we consider giving you what you have earned. I am just one county commissioner.
I appreciate it. I mean, I am far away from retirement, but as you know, circumstances could change. It could be, become disabled. Anything could happen. So I may not be that far away. We never know. But I would ask that benefit that I earned while I was here be recognized by this commission, and then I'll fight it in the future if I have to. But the retirement board is telling me that is enough at this point.
We could recognize it, I'm just sort of talking here.
Sure.
If it were recognized that you had that particular time locked in, it would have to be, a motion would have to be set forth in such a way that it did not bind the county to would not bind the county to take a position at the time of your retirement as to whether or not that particular time would apply. That would be, again, up to the future county commission and, of course, the consolidated public retirement system. I have no problems with recognizing that because you provided us with documentation that you have 66, or I believe days roughly, of accumulated sick leave. I have no problem putting that on the record as your request. But I feel that I cannot bind a future commission into recognizing that. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I understand what you're saying. I can't say, I mean, I guess we can agree to disagree on all we can do. I mean, the vote, I mean, my time is in the past. You know,
Right.
We're here.
I would
The retirement
recognize.
board says that they'll recognize it
Yeah,
if they have something official.
exactly. If
You know,
this
when
falls,
I'm 62, let's just say that happens, they're gonna send the paperwork to the Upshur County Commission and Lewis County Commission
correct.
and say, did he have any credit of sick time? What amount of days? Or vacation, but of course that's been paid out, that's not an issue. I would like someone to have the authority to, 66 days, mail it back to them, they give me credit for that, however that equates out per month, 10 days for each month.
I have no problem again, going back, I have no problem recognizing you have 66 days.
I mean,
And how that plays out in the future, I can't tell, because it's in the future.
Right.
Well, yeah, I assume that this issue would be county by county, depending on what the county's policy is. Is that correct?
That would be correct, and you have former employees that have left the employment of Upshur County and went to work for other state or county agencies covered by the Consolidated Public Retirement Board programs, and we have not done that for other employees.
So you're saying we've had employees who work for Upshur County paid into either deputy sheriffs or the PERS,
Correct?
went to work for another entity that had PERS, and we did not recognize or transfer the sick leave days for those individuals. Have we done it for anyone?
No.
Did they make a request?
No, they did not, because
Request?
the policy in place states when they leave employment, when the employment relationship is discontinued, the sick leave balance is lost. That's why we've never had a request. That's the policy in place.
Well, let me ask you this. What about if we table mine today, maybe set it for later this afternoon? I know we got policy board meeting. Or let's table it for another week, and let's go up and I'll come to the policy board meeting and make a motion that we amend Upshur County's policy. I think it negates the state policy, because the state policy says you're entitled to it.
State would recognize it, but they leave it to the local employer. The employing agencies have to verify and approve.
So
The
they'll
state-
recognize it, and you have the authority to amend it, and we,
I'm not, I agree with that. I'm just saying, in my opinion, Willie Parker's opinion, I don't see, I would caution the commission to do it in one instance when we've had previous cases that I know people have worked enough time to be vested in the retirement program and have not made application for whatever reason, mainly because the policy in place says it's lost, and then we proceed and grant this in this case.
Mr. Parker, do you know of any other people that was employed and under the same situation as Master Kaufman is now, that ran for office and was elected as a reason that they're no longer employed for the county? Just curious.
Not that I'm aware of. I know there's people that have left for various reasons, other employment, other jobs, whatever. They left voluntarily or involuntarily in some cases, but it's a situation where Mr. Kaufman left voluntarily, was elected. Other employees left voluntarily, received another job with a state or local agency. Again, I would just caution the commission of going against policy, of the adopted policy, current policy, for one previous employee when you have not done in other cases. I think that is a bad precedence.
Well,
I'm not saying you can't do it in
Right.
the future, but you
Right.
need to change policy first and come up with some tracking mechanism.
okay, and I think that's Mike's recommendation today. So his recommendation, although we have a motion, a request is that we consider changing that policy. Is that it?
I mean, if the policy's the hang-up,
Right.
I think that we need to take a look at the policy, and if that means
Okay.
holding off today to
Well, based on
address policy.
yeah, based
But
on
what, I guess my other question would be, what I would like for, maybe what Mr. Rafferty said, we go ahead and recognize it at this point, you all, this commission, recognize the amount of time, and then let's put the actual form of request until we address the policy.
well, I think we've already recognized because it's been stated in the minutes many times that you have 66 days.
Yeah, that's public record.
So if
We
we
can
could-
include that
Right.
timesheet in the public record.
We
that's
could,
no
we could
problem.
recognize that you have 66 days. We also have to
That can
recognize.
be referenced in the
Recognize
minutes.
the policy.
And that locks in that number of days, sick leave, as a matter of official record.
Now, one of the issues is if the commission looks to change that policy, is how you make it retroactive, how far back you go, and what if you've had people, and you very well could have,
And the liability that attaches to
that
it.
attaches to that have already retired.
Well, and all those things we can consider if we're going to
If we
consider.
know all the
If we're going
names,
to
yes.
consider that request.
Yeah.
Right,
There's going to be some,
right,
extensive research needed to be made.
right.
And I don't know if we'll cover all bases.
Is it proper to make a motion?
We have a motion. We have to deal with the motion
Okay, which
on
one?
the floor. Buddy has a motion that we approve and give Mike his 66 days and lock it in so that when he retires, that it's a done deal. That's the motion. We have a motion and a second. So we need to vote on that. And then we don't need a motion to accept Mike's request. We can look into
We
that.
can, just administratively, we can include that reference, and a
That
copy of that
request,
timesheet
yeah.
will be included in the minutes.
We can make it as a matter of official.
That won't be a problem.
It will be an official part of the
There's
record.
no motion necessary for that
Right.
purpose.
That'll at least cover any
I mean,
timesheets,
Right.
like we had in this situation.
Yeah,
That's
because we
that's one hurdle.
Yeah, we routinely include,
Request.
well,
Well,
documentation as
right.
backup to the minutes.
Right, okay. Okay, so,
But I would also, I mean, I guess and I didn't know because I've never been to a policy board meeting, but I heard last week that they're open to the public, is that correct?
yeah,
Whenever we discussed this,
Right.
and if I could get an agenda from you, if there is an agenda, I would like to come and possibly bring my counsel with me to,
there's an extensive agenda, so you might want to block off all afternoon for it.
I got all. But I would at least
You can do that.
like to come and have my input and possibly my counsel's on the wording of that.
Right, okay, that's good. Okay. So, at this point, we have a motion on the floor and a second.
Well, I'd like to withdraw my motion until the policy board can rewrite and check into this a little further. I would want to make note that Kaufman has showed records here that he had 66 and a half days under the deputy sheriff's retirement. It's my opinion that he falls almost as elected official like Debbie, Helen, and Virgil. However, let's do a little research. Let's get a policy that covers that, and I withdraw my motion at this time, but would recognize his 66 and a half days that he earned sick leave under the deputy sheriff's retirement system.
Okay, do you withdraw your second?
Yes.
Okay, all right then. That takes care of that issue. Any other questions?
Are we going to discuss that? Is that going to be a discussion at this policy board or another one?
I'd say be another, we've already
Yeah.
got the agenda for this.
We have revisions, and that policy change is not in there to change the current policy. In fact, there's some wording to clarify our current policy as it's lost. So, but that's not saying it cannot be changed in the future as anything can.
Well, Mr. Parker, will you notify me when that in advance, when that?
Sure will.
Because I don't get the agenda sometimes. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, I had to take wait on me. I'm waiting on you. You slide over. I'll
Okay, we have a couple minutes. No, it's 15 after 10. We're an hour.
Yeah, you got.
So it's 9:15. So we have David H. Kaufman, Sheriff of Upshur County. If you'd like to step up and address the item, agenda item.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I think I'm here this morning on first issue is an issue with the auditor's office and their findings for the fiscal year ending 2011 and 2012. This issue comes about in the Spatial Law Enforcement Investigative account. And I have 2 letters of correspondence that I'd like to read to the commission this morning pertaining to this.
Right ahead.
Of course, honorable members of the Upshur County Commission, dated February 13th. This is from myself, the sheriff. I'm writing to you in reference to the recent draft audit finding for the fiscal year ending 2011 and 2012. As you are aware, I took office on January 1, 2013, and therefore was not aware of these inadequacies until recently. Excuse me. Since the presentation of this finding, I have been in contact with the West Virginia State Auditor's Office in hopes of finding an appropriate resolution. Our auditor, Ms. Samantha Woods, was quite pleasant to work with and most helpful in assisting me in finding a resolution to this situation. I presented her with my proposal of resolution early last week, and she has agreed this would be a workable solution. As a courtesy to your office, I have attached a copy of my response to the findings, and I want to thank your office for their present cooperation in this matter. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, David Kaufman, Sheriff of Upshur County. I'll go ahead and present you with this first letter.
Okay, thank you.
The second letter is a letter from myself, Sheriff Kaufman, to the Honorable Glenn Gaynor. It says, I'm writing to you in reference to the recent draft documentation provided to me by your auditor, Samantha Woods. Ms. Woods and I reviewed her findings for the fiscal year ending 2011-2012. As I'm sure you are aware, I took office on January 2013 and therefore was not aware of these inaccuracies until recently. I found Ms. Woods to be knowledgeable and most helpful in answering my questions in reference to this matter. Upon review of the findings and possible solution to this situation, I am putting the following items into place as of February 1, 2013, in hopes that this will resolve this matter for all future purposes. Three signatures on the Spatial Law Enforcement account, investigative account. 1, County Commissioner President. 2, County Clerk. 3rd signature, Sheriff. I will provide records of income and disbursements on a monthly basis via the Sheriff's monthly financial statement as opposed as to yearly basis through an annual report. The supporting documentation of monthly income and disbursement will be provided to the County Clerk Bookkeeping Department. Records of the cash disbursements from our investigative activity log will also be provided to the County Clerk's Bookkeeping Department. However, as per conversation with Ms. Woods, I will be providing this information on my letterhead listing the date and the amount of disbursements. The names of the investigating officer and case name numbers will be redacted. And then just thanking her. So basically I'm here with a document that myself and the clerk has signed to proceed with the 3 signatures. And I brought documentation, Mr. President. Here's one more of this, like your signature, please. And we'll have the 3 signatures on this Spatial Law Enforcement account.
Does that really fully comply with the auditors?
I haven't talked to the auditor. I didn't know about the response.
I mean, as far as the,
I do not know.
well, but in the audit findings I'm talking about.
I'd have to contact the auditor's office to make sure. I mean, we can submit that and ask, what I would do at this point is take that, submit that as the views of responsible officials and plan corrective actions, and then make a, please advise if this does not adequately address the concerns of the state auditor's office type statement.
That's the best I can do for you right now, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we
And
certainly.
they'll let us know if it doesn't.
Right.
I want to comply. especially with the auditor's office.
To carry a big stick.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we appreciate your cooperation and your willingness to comply with the auditor, and then we'll submit that, and like Willie said, if they want something more, they'll certainly tell us.
Exactly, and we'll work to make that happen for them.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the next issue is compliance with vehicle use policy. If you'd like to address that issue.
Well, it's my understanding by having correspondence with Mr. Parker. Here, I don't have the date. Didn't note the date. Maybe the beginning of this week brought to my attention that one of my deputies was seen driving his police vehicle with a civilian person on board. Is that right, Willie?
Yes, that's what was reported to our office.
What date was that? I forget. Monday?
Monday, I do believe, Tuesday.
Yes. Well, I want the commission to know that I'm not going to I've said from the day that I was elected, I want to work with you gentlemen. I think this issue has been going on for a period of time, concerns about this policy. I think it was a concern before I ever came on board. I believe I understand the liability concerns that the commission has. And I want to work with the commission to make this policy work for everyone. But I will say that under our policies and procedures, that if someone out here, a citizen, has a complaint to file against one of my officers, the protocol is that that person must come forward. That person will sit down with the sheriff. We have paperwork, a form, so these people can put in writing what their complaint is. And they sign that complaint. And at that point in time, once that protocol is complete, this sheriff will take that complaint seriously, and there'll be a full investigation. For someone that just wants to come anonymously, God, I can't talk, I'm dry mouth. I just don't think it's fair. It's not fair to me. It wouldn't be fair to my staff for me to attempt to punish this individual at this point in time without this proper protocol. I just think we're opening up another can of worms, another situation that we don't want to, I don't think we want to go in that direction. So that's kind of how I feel pertaining to this, but there again, I want to work with the commission, and I want to make my officers, my staff, understand the liability. I have spoke to most of my guys, girls, pertaining to this issue. And there's been some resistance, but I don't think it's anything that I can't work through if I'm given the opportunity and the time to do so. I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to butt heads with you gentlemen. I want to work with you gentlemen.
The individual that contacted the office, they didn't want to file a written complaint. They didn't want to be identified to law enforcement personnel. I have no problem with your protocol of not following through on an investigation based on, the stuff we have and taking any disciplinary action against an employee. That wasn't the intent at all. I think the commission's concern is compliance with the policy and not having unauthorized individuals in county-owned vehicles.
But then there again, Willie, if that occurs,
It is occurring.
then how do you expect me to address the issue?
It is occurring.
Without a proper investigation?
We need to enforce our policy. We need to inform all of our employees, including the deputies, there's not to be unauthorized people, individuals, according to our current policy, in county-owned vehicles. The question is, will we inform our deputies and enforce the policy, whether there's a complaint or not? That's the bottom line.
Well, the commission's concern is strictly from a liability point of view, that if the deputy has a civilian, whether it's a spouse, a child, or whatever, and there's an incident, and that civilian is shot, killed, injured, then the county commission stands to be sued, and that's our concern. And that's the concern of our insurance carrier. That's where it all comes from. And, you know, that's what our insurance carrier wants to know. They know we have a policy. They want to know if the policy is being enforced. It's that simple.
There's another issue that the deputies have to be aware of, and that is that they could be held personally liable. That is, if I understand correctly, and correct me if I am wrong on this, if there were to be an accident, say a motor vehicle accident, in which an unauthorized person was in the vehicle, was injured, or worse, that deputy, by acting outside of the rules and regulations set forth for use of that vehicle, could be held personally liable for damages or for other actions that could be brought by the person or
That liability exists whether they're authorized or unauthorized. That makes no difference.
it does.
That liability is there.
I would, though, if, depending on the circumstances, if
If I have a civilian, whether they're authorized or not, Mr. Rafferty in my car, we're assuming that risk. Whether it's our family member.
But the county would intercede.
Jerry's in the car with me.
But our risk policy, our risk pool policy that we have would intercede on your behalf to protect him, correct?
Correct.
In that circumstance, if it was an authorized situation, we had a civilian in the vehicle during the performance of official duty, the risk pool insurance would step in to protect the deputy or the public official from personally losing anything. If the civilian in the vehicle is, if I understand correctly, is not an authorized individual or occupant of the vehicle, our insurance has the right to say, we're not going to cover him, and therefore that is when the personal liability attaches. And our insurance would not step in to represent or to provide coverage for the deputy. Is that correct?
They may represent coverage and provide coverage, but they may do it with a clause of recovering some of the cost. They may upfront the coverage. And, the person in the vehicle may not be injured, not an authorized person. Hypothetically, I'm driving a county vehicle. I have my son in there who's 30-some years old, and he distracts me, and I hit somebody else and cause damage or injury to them. The county vehicle's damaged, but there's no injuries to myself or my son. At that point, that unauthorized person caused a liability claim. The risk pool could defend us, probably would, but they may come back to the county and or myself and say, you have violated the written policy, you caused us undue expense because of that violation. We want to recoup some of our costs because of that.
They would what? How would they recoup that cost?
They would either file suit against the commission and proceed to legal action if they provided it up front, or they would enter into agreement in providing coverage up front of, we will provide you coverage, and if there's any damages or awards, then certain provisions would apply. it's a situation that may or may never happen, but, and individuals think it can happen here. And I just personally do not understand why someone would want to put a family member in that situation where injury could occur, where a job where they normally wear a bulletproof vest. I wouldn't want my son or wife in that situation. That's me.
Willie, I'm gonna tell you from years of being a police officer, it doesn't matter if I'm driving down the street in the county cruiser, or if I'm in my personal vehicle. Mr. Rafferty, Mr. Brady, I think will reiterate this. You feel that, those people know what I drive. They know what kind of truck I drive.
I understand that.
And that liability is there on me 24/7.
I understand that.
And why do you think that the federal government's even agreed to allow police officers to carry off-duty weapons in any state in the United States? That's one reason.
Well, that
enforces the need for not having unauthorized
But you're
individuals
saying
in
that's a
our.
liability if you put your family in. When I put
It
this
is.
uniform on, when I swore an oath, my family was put in that position. They understand it.
But, as the county-owned vehicle, then you're putting the county in that same situation, in a liability situation. If somebody's, and that liability cannot be signed away in a waiver of any shape or form. If there's a minor in the vehicle, age 5 or 6, they have until 2 years, until after age 18, to file suit. So if you have a 5-year-old, you've got 13, 15 years of liability exposure as a county commission. And I know it's convenient to drop your son, daughter off at school, spouse at work, but that's not in compliance with our policy. Mr. Brady is a former deputy. He's seen both sides. Not to put him on the spot.
now might be a good time, buddy, for you to reiterate the difference in your viewpoint sitting up here than sitting in a cruiser, if you wish to do so.
There is a major difference from being a deputy downstairs and being up here as a newly elected county commissioner. When I was a deputy for years, I really didn't see a problem with dropping my son off at school or whatever the situation may be. I picked up several people in my cruisers. We've done several investigations, and I never seen a problem with that, because first of all, I thought if I was driving down the street and if I'd had an accident, it was my fault, I certainly wouldn't be thinking about suing the county commission. But after being to several schools and been sitting here and looking to the liability issues and what may stem, you do see the picture a little differently. It would be nice to eliminate all the liability for everybody sitting in this room, from sheriffs to assistants to county commissioners, but there is no way to eliminate all the liability. But I think wherever we can try to slow the liability down at all possible, we should try to do that.
I guess my response to the commission, we could sit here and talk about this for another 30 minutes. I don't think it's necessary. As your sheriff, I will work hard to see that my staff stays in compliance with this policy. Beyond that, today, I don't know. I can't see the future. If someone comes forward, it's my request, if someone comes forward and they got a complaint, before I'm going to address it, I don't care if I'm brought up here, but before I address that complaint, that person will approach me one-on-one behind closed doors, and they will announce their complaint to me, because I am the supervisor of this these guys, and before I take any type of actions on them, that's in policies and procedures, and that form must be filled out. That's all I got to say today, gentlemen.
And that won't be any problem with our, risk or liability carrier. What we need, though, is a commitment to inform and educate all of our employees on the need in compliance with the policy. Not wait till there's a complaint filed, but follow up.
I told you I'd follow up on
Yeah.
this, Mr. Parker, so please allow me to do so.
I will.
Okay.
And it's just, we can't wait till a complaint's filed, though.
I didn't say I was going to do that.
I was just wanted to make that clear.
You gentlemen's made yourself clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's 10:35. I don't see our county clerk here. She's next on the docket.
He was here.
They might make contact and we've taken care of a 9:45, I assume.
We were about an hour and,
Yeah,
or,
we did everything in a timely manner. At least we didn't do it before time. And we have a 1 o'clock meeting, our policy board, elected officials meeting. Topics, agenda items are in the,
excuse me.
and at 1500 hours, our supervisors meeting. Why don't we take a 5-minute break while we're waiting for our county clerk to come back up? How's that, gentlemen?
Sounds fine. I'm ready.
Okay, we're back from our recess, and we're just a little bit behind on our 9:30 appointment. We have Debbie Thacker-Wilfong, our Upshur County Commission Clerk, and the first issue is the sick leave. You happy with our result on that, Debbie?
Yes, I appreciate that.
Okay, no comments on that.
I think we need to look at the policy though, and review it.
Do what?
I think yes, I appreciate that very much,
Okay.
what you did. But I think we need to look at the policy and review that.
Okay, well, let's jump down to the last one here. Review recommendation for extension of time to settle estate of Arnett Brown. Is that Brown or Brownie? Corley?
Brown Corley.
Brown Corley,
Yes.
deceased. What's your request there?
Actually, it's a request from Dale Rights Fiduciary Commission recommending that the extension of the time for settlement be extended. They actually have 5 years to do a settlement, and they're...
She wants to extend it past the 5 years, is
Right,
that?
and according to the more recent laws, they have to have it be approved by the county commission to do that.
Okay, is there a specific amount of time we're extending it, or?
No, it doesn't say that. Oh, you mean, does she request?
Yeah, did she request,
I don't remember.
18 months.
Okay, I thought she
The
had.
executor be granted 18 months to finalize the estate. Do we have a motion to approve the request?
Also move.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Do I need to sign this now?
No.
We just need to have the
No,
official
just
approval. Okay, all right. Let's go then to our audit findings. If you want to address those issues.
Okay, yes. I did talk to and I have a letter here, to the state auditor's office whenever I talked to Mr. Drayton, who is in charge of the auditors, and upon his suggestion that we review the checks for overpayment that we have made, actually, let's go back to what hers is. It says, the recommendation from the auditor, the Upshur County Clerk should implement policies and procedures to ensure that all overpayments received in the form of checks be refunded by check from the refund bank account. Okay, like I said, I talked to Mr. Drain, and his recommendation was that we go back and review overpayment of what we have for checks that we have taken in, and when that is completed, that I write up a policy, and that I will review it with him, and then present it to the auditor.
Mr. Drain, D-R-A-I-N? Is that how
Kenny
you spell
Drain
it?
is his name, yes. And what we actually have reviewed so far is, and it just takes a little bit of time to go back and see, there are some overpayments, and mostly those are to Himes and Coots or Progressive Bank, which I think I indicated to you all the other day, that they're to the banks. These are cashier's checks where they come in and bring them in. And of course, in talking with him, he didn't have a problem with the cashier's checks. There was a question with one for $44. I do remember when we went back and we did find it. It was actually anyways, what we found out, and that's and one of the reasons too, where in reviewing this, I'm going to talk to him about it. What happens, for an example, when the fiduciary commissioners bring in 4 final settlements, each one are $11. They bring us one check for $44. So we put those in our data as a separate one. So you're collecting $11 for each one. So they're actually giving you a check for $44. You're putting one in for 11, one in for 11, third one in for 11, and fourth one in for 11. So you're not getting money back. It's just the way it shows up in the system. So.
Well, I think that finding was just on giving money back, giving cash back.
But it looks like you're giving money back.
So you say you never give money back?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Someone questioned the one with the $44 the other day.
Oh. Well, I think the audit finding is, and their recommendation, when someone gives you the wrong amount for a document they file, instead of you giving them cash back, that you set up a checking account, which you did, but you don't have any checks for it yet, and that you give them a check back instead of cash. I think that was the audit finding.
Well, that's our recommendation, yes.
Okay, and what's your response to that?
And what we're going to do, like I said, is review this, because we need to set an amount of how much, because he said like 20 cents or 50 cents, which we indicated to you all the other day, or $1 or $2. It's a waste of our time and their time to try to balance out that checkbook. And for instance, if you get a check for $1 or $2, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to cash it. And so therefore, you're never going to balance out that checkbook. And in talking with him and with the other counties, they have a limit. Some set 10, some set 5. So that's what we're trying to review to see where we want to go with it.
Do you have that in writing?
From him?
From the auditor?
No. When I actually had my policy, I talked to him again yesterday.
I need a written response from you today.
I have a written response from you today.
Okay. I need that today, so because I have to send that in because they're holding the audit reports till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have a written response.
I just need a copy of that for today so I can attach that.
Yes.
Under review type statement, and we can do that. No problem.
Correct. So that's what we're looking at right now and trying to come up with so that we're not writing a check back for 50 cents or $1 or $2.
Well, since the auditor's the one that wrote us up, then if the auditor changes their mind or gives us a new directive, gives themselves a new directive, I guess, then as long as we got something in writing from them, as long as they have something in writing from themselves, right?
Right. Well, correct. But like he said to me, he said this is not a fine. It's a recommendation. There's nothing in the code that requires you to do this. This is just their recommendation.
On the audit finding, you mean?
Yeah, it's not an audit finding. It's actually just a recommendation.
I thought it was an audit finding.
It actually says recommendation, not a finding.
Well,
and that's what he
but
said.
an audit finding then gives a recommendation, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the recommendation is as a result of the audit finding.
Okay, that's what he said to me the other day when I was there.
It's under schedule of findings. It is a finding on the audit.
And then they give a recommendation.
Yes.
And their recommendation.
And then we have to respond to their recommendation.
Right. And what was their?
Which we will. And then if they change.
Right.
Based on our response, then they may change their recommendation.
Right.
So this is a letter I have.
Mr. Tenney, if you wouldn't mind taking care of item 4 and 5, ask Rodney and Micah to be here to address any of those questions. It'll only take probably a few minutes. Otherwise, they're going to have to wait a while, if you wouldn't mind doing that.
4 and 5?
4 and 5 under items for consideration.
Okay. If you don't mind, Debbie, we'll take just a second.
No, I don't mind.
Okay, if you want to come up, Rodney. Morning.
Morning, how are you all?
Good.
Fine, thank you. Had better days, but it's good today.
So the first item is consider request for wage increase request for Lewis, Upshur, Braxton Community Correction personnel as authorized by the board. That's on pages 25 and 26. As of February the 11th, 2013 Community Corrections Board meeting, it was voted on that all full and part-time staff receive 2% pay raise for the remainder of this grant cycle. This pay raise will come out of our match local account. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And the next page, does that give the...
Yeah, and I did have some questions, and that's one reason I asked them to be here. As I understand that the individuals paid on a per session basis, Ms. Layfield and Ms. Waldo, are not to be included.
Correct.
Okay, so those will be removed from the
Right.
request. All right.
Okay, so Ms. Layfield and Ms. Waldo. Okay.
And then I had a question about Mr. Posey because of his retirement. There's a limit on how much he can make without affecting his retirement, and that's been cleared through the grant personnel in Charleston, because that would put him above that if he continued working the same number of hours.
I think we figured out that he has to shave maybe 1 hour every 2 weeks.
Yeah, because it was close, yeah. Because there's a $15,000 limit on earnings before it affects his retirement. And other than that, I can't remember what questions I had other than the effective dates I put as for the second check in February, which for salary or Micah would be March the 3rd, and then hourly would be February 24th. That gives Carol time to make the changes. And this would be an increase in the hourly rate. Then once the grant is renewed, those may go up or down depending on grant funds.
Yeah, and the reason that come about was after the grant was approved and after July last year, the board elected to not increase them to the full amount, just to hold off 2% to wait and see where our money was actually at come January of this year. So that's why we wanted to re-up it again and bring it back up. And there's, I mean, you're only looking at from now till the end of the grant cycle about $1,000 between all the employees, $1,300, something like that.
I do have a question, just a matter of education for me. This is 3 counties participating in the grant.
Yes.
The funding comes from the local match, not from the grant funds that have been provided us.
Yes.
Do each of the county commissions have to approve it, or does only one county commission have to approve it? That is the pay raise?
The board is overall responsible for the management and control.
Right.
And we are the county commission that's been designated as the fiscal agent, and it's their local funding that generate, it's not grant funding, but it's local
Right.
funding from Upshur, Braxton, Lewis, and other sources.
It's been
of programming.
deposited,
Yeah.
it's been deposited from those
Yes.
counties within Upshur County's
Yes.
control. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
So basically, the approval was from the board, and since we're the fiscal agent, then it's just coming to us?
Fiscal agent, and technically you have to approve it because
Right.
you are the fiscal agent.
Okay, all right. Well, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
The other item is just the grant conditions, which is the routine grant conditions. And Micah's working on the rest of the grant that'll come back to you at a future date. Again, because you're the fiscal agent, you're required to approve them. There's nothing special about pages 27 through 39. They're normal. Just need
They're
Mr.
boilerplate.
We just need a motion to
Yes,
approve.
just need Mr. Tenney's signature.
Okay, do we have a motion then to approve and authorize the president to sign any and all documents related to the aforementioned request?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
You
I'll
guys
second.
been making all long motions, really. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, how's our folks on home confinement, up or down numbers?
Down.
What's the matter? We had a $60,000 regional jail bill last month. I was just wondering, is that part of the reason we have high regional jail bill? Because we got less people on home confinement?
I don't know. We'll have to discuss that with the magistrates and the prosecutors. It's down, and I'm going to get put on the agenda for next Thursday to show you the year and how it turned out, but all of them's down from last year.
Okay, well, that's part of what Megan's looking at, so we'll give her another day or two and then give us a
Come up with $30,000.
yeah. Okay, thank you now.
Thank y'all.
Okay, Debbie, you're back up.
Thanks, Debbie. Did I steal your mom?
That's the problem.
Okay, let's see. We've got the audit findings. Checks. Let's see. Then we've got the charges on expense report reviewed. Those issues and review requests for additional on the email concerning the mileage reimbursement requirements there. So I guess that's where we're at now.
Okay. No, I just, when you asked me that, I was surprised, because what I was going with that was executive session. I was going to say, well, I was asking for executive session to
Discuss these issues.
exactly.
Do we have a motion to enter into executive session per?
Yes, I would move that we move into executive section under provisions of West Virginia Code 6-9A-4, which states in part, the commission may hold an executive session during a regular, special, or emergency meeting in accordance with provisions of this section to consider matters arising from the appointment, employment, retirement, promotion, transfer, demotion, disciplining, resignation, discharge, dismissal, or compensation of a public officer or employee, or to plan or consider an official investigation.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.